They say the gods once walked among men. They shaped empires, anointed kings, and breathed victory into the hearts of the chosen. And among them rose one man whose name burned brighter than the sun itself, Vir Anant, the warrior blessed by the goddess of victory. He was born beneath a sky split by lightning, the omen of greatness written across the storm. By the time he was 16, he had led armies to triumphs men twice his age could only dream of. His blade shimmered like living fire. His eyes carried the calm of those who knew no defeat. When he rode into battle, even the wind seemed to bend around him, whispering prayers in his name. They called him the hand of the goddess, the mortal who carried her will. But victory is a sweet poison, and devotion too easily becomes pride. And pride, once it takes root, outgrows even the gods who plant it. One night, beneath a swollen silver moon, the empire gathered for the festival of devotion. Thousands knelt before the grand temple. The air was thick with the scent of sandalwood and burning lamps. Priests chanted, drums thundered, and every soul bowed in reverence. Every soul, except one. At the center of that sea of devotion stood Vir Anant, tall as a pillar, sword gleaming like a second moon. While others pressed their foreheads to the earth, he lifted his blade to the heavens. The high priest's voice shook as he cried, "Anant, son of the plains, bow before the goddess who made you." And Anant's answer rolled through the temple like thunder. "If the gods crave worship," he said, "let them earn it through honor, not fear." Gasps rippled through the crowd. The drums fell silent. Even the wind seemed to vanish. Then, with a crack like the breaking of the world, lightning split the sky. The goddess's statue trembled, its crown fractured, light poured out like blood. A divine voice roared across the city, sorrowful and furious all at once. "For your pride your name shall be forgotten. For your defiance, your song shall fade from time." Scrolls turned to ash in the priest's hands. Banners bearing his mark caught fire. The crowd that once worshipped him scattered in terror. When the storm ended, Vir Anant stood alone, his armor dull, his sword heavy, the glow of divinity stripped away. He tried to lift the weapon that had once felt like part of his soul, but it dragged him to his knees. And in that silence he understood what it meant to be truly mortal. Seasons passed. He wandered the ruined edges of the empire, a ghost wearing flesh. Temples that once welcomed him closed their doors. Children no longer knew his name. He offered gold to sages, prayers to stone idols and tears to the sky, but no god answered. The same silence that had once been peace became punishment. And in that silence his pride began to die. The warrior who had once been worshipped became a beggar for meaning. He walked across deserts where even the vultures refused to follow. He listened for the goddess's voice in the wind, but heard only the echoes of his own defiance. Yet deep within something still burned, the ember of truth he had spoken. He had not defied the gods for power, he had done it for honesty. For a heart that no longer wanted to kneel without reason. Years folded into decades. The empire crumbled into dust, swallowed by time. And all that remained of Vir Anant was a rumor whispered by wanderers. That on certain nights, when the moon burns red, a lone figure walks the dunes with a sword that hums like a memory. They say he waits, not for forgiveness but for remembrance. For even the forgotten long to be remembered. Perhaps that is why this story endures. Because it is not only about gods and men, but about every soul that has ever questioned the silence of the sky. It reminds us that faith without thought becomes blindness, and worship without courage becomes a chain. Anant defied the heavens, but in doing so he taught them something divine. That even pride can be sacred when born from truth. So when the wind moves through the old ruins, listen closely. The sand might whisper his name. Vir Anant. The man who once defied the gods, and became greater than their anger. And if this tale stirs something within you, do not let it fade into silence. Speak it. Share it. Keep the flame alive. Because legends do not die, they only sleep, waiting for a voice brave enough to wake them. This is Tales for All Seasons. Until the next story, remember, every forgotten name waits for a storyteller like you.